all the messages are telling you as a business owner, as a clinic owner, that they can get you cash patients. All you have to do is market, and all you have to do is spend your money with them. I'm going to share with you a little bit about what I've done, but also how to not waste your time and not waste your money, right? If you're going to start doing paid ads, here are some things you want to think about first. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist. And over 10 years ago, I started my therapy clinic. And over 15 years ago, I started Hand Therapy Secrets to help therapists have more choices in their career. One of your choices might be that you want to do something business wise. So when I first started, I was told, yeah, you got to go market. You got to get out there and you got to tell people more about what you do. And you got to start running ads and you got to boost your, engagement and, spend some money. I did some of that, but it didn't get me anywhere. And I wasted a lot of time and a lot of dollars. Number one, don't boost those posts. I was like, oh yeah, just boost it for $5. That's like the worst thing you could have done. And I did that. And I was like, where is that getting me? It's not getting me anywhere. It's not getting me actually the right people in the right town. And also looking for the things that I was offering, right? So I didn't get phone calls from it. And maybe there's ways in which you can do it, but people tend to boost when they're just looking for eyeballs and followers and stuff like that. But followers don't necessarily mean customers for you. So as a therapy clinic, I want to attract people who have the problems that I can solve. I help people with hand and arm problems. I help people with complex kind of cases. I help them make decisions about how can they avoid surgery? Do they need surgery? That kind of stuff. So I'm pretty niched in what I do. And I have to somehow separate like what I do, how different I am from other clinics, especially other in-network places. And so if you want to stop wasting money, especially on ads like that, don't boost. And now here's the thing. I believe that when you want to start doing paid ads, right, you can do paid Facebook, paid Instagram, paid YouTube. Those are some of the things I've done. Even Google ads. If you don't get your message right, then you're kind of like wasting your time. So that's what I did before. Like I thought I needed to be funny and cheeky. I'm not someone who's going to dance and I'm not going to lip sync and I'm not going to sing. Like I don't do any of those types of things. But I thought I had to be punchy and I thought I had to be funny. And so I did some of those things and kind of put some money behind it. It was kind of like cringe. Don't look for those. But what I didn't do is get really clear on who I helped and my message. And I wasn't as confident. I feel like I wasn't as confident as I am now. Obviously, you can't get confident unless you do some of it and waste some time and money. But regardless, just continue to work on your message and making sure it's clear, concise, and that you sound really confident about it. That's number one. So I'm a big fan of doing some organic stuff first and then seeing like what really resonates with the people that you're talking to, how do you get better, and that kind of stuff. Once you start doing some organic, then it's going to help you so that your paid stuff is going to just do better and reach more people. Number two is have a system in place for calls. So do all these ads and you get all these phone calls, and you're like, how do I answer these phone calls, right? So not only do you have to have a system in place, like, for example, when someone answers the calls, how are they supposed to answer it? All these questions that people are going to ask you. You want to make sure that your staff know how to answer that. You know how to answer those questions too. So majority of the time you're watching this because you want to be out of network. Most insurance companies don't even want to pay you. So they don't want to even let you in the door into their little exclusive club. And you don't want it because they don't fucking pay for shit. So let me not get on a tangent. So you got to have a system set up to answering the insurance questions. You have to have a system for what if they have more questions about in-network, out-of-network, that kind of stuff. You want to be able to educate your patients. You want to be able to, if you're the one answering the phone, you'll probably know a lot more of the clinical stuff. You have to have a system in place to shut up about it because it's not about the clinical thing. You don't want to treat someone over the phone. You want to invite them in and say, hey, I know based on what you're telling me, but we've got to work together, through an evaluation first, versus, oh, I know how to do this and you have this and you have that. Like, been there, done that, guilty. Now you can use your expertise to kind of engage with that person, build trust faster, faster than like say your assistant can. But if you have someone answering your phone, and ideally you have someone else answering your phone, you want to have a script and have a system in place of like how they can answer these questions so they're not blindsided. And I have a system in place. Like, listen, if someone's going to be rude to me, like I don't want that. I don't want that in my clinic. I don't want like staff getting riled up about like some asshole person being on the phone. We get people who are hurt who call, and we don't mind someone who's maybe sharp, their tone is sharp, they're a little bit on the rude side, but they're just desperate. They just want help. Like, so we have a script, we have systems in place to be able to answer those calls. We have a system in place to like calm those kind of people down. You don't want them coming here and then you're matching them. You want them coming here and then you're going to have them bring them down so they can calm down and like, I'm the person or the sensor that you trust, right? So those are systems in place. When I first did this and I started doing ads, I was getting people who only wanted to use their insurance, and that was the most important thing to them. And they were so freaking rude over the phone, but we didn't have a system in place. We didn't know how to answer these questions. We just got like kind of irked and riled up with them. And that's not the best place to be, because that's not how you build trust with people in the community. So that's really important, because otherwise you're going to bring these calls in and they're going to waste their time, and then they're going to waste your money, right? They're going to waste your time, they're going to waste their time, and they're going to waste your money. So, just make sure that you have a system set in place. And I would encourage you, common questions that you often get, how to explain it best. And those are scripts. We have questions in terms of like in the order in which you ask them makes a really big difference to get to know them and what they're looking for and things like that. I think I have other videos on that. So take a look through the business playlist. I release business videos every Wednesday. And then on the other days, like Saturdays, I release more clinical stuff. So if you're looking for more business content as a therapist, as an occupational therapist, look for the Wednesday ones, business ones on that playlist. So there's probably some video where I go a lot more into like the questions and things like that. And if you want more of my personalized help, then click the link below. I've got a course for you, as well as we can do like a private consultation type of call. And I can help you make some decisions around what you need to do in order to attract more people and build that system in place so that when you do get the phone calls, you know how to have great conversations so that they'll become your patient. Now, not everyone becomes your patient right away. You need a follow-up system. Actually, I was talking to one of my patients today, and he's a realtor, and this is his business. Like, he is a business of one. So he was just telling me a little bit about his system and how, he tried doing the organic stuff, and it's very time consuming. He was like, I'd rather not do that. Where did he spend his time? Because if you're not marketing to attract inbound, you're going out to get them, right? So one of the things that he did was he does cold calls. So he picks a particular neighborhood and he calls them and eventually he'll find somebody who wants to sell on their list. And one of the things that he does is he talks to them, gets their name and their store or whatever, and gets their emails like, hey, just in case, I send an email out once a month. So he sends out an email once a month, and he goes, people who I've called a year or two later call me back and say, hey, I'm ready to sell my house now, right? So he's doing that like outbound. He's going out there and like looking for people who might need his services. Therapists we don't necessarily do that per se. I mean, there's a way of doing it, like if you do like community events, things like that. But most of the time we're here and we want to attract people. There's different ways to do it. There's definitely different ways to do it. So in my mind, I'm here and I'm attracting you to come into my world. So I do a lot of educational marketing. I do a lot of videos, and then I have a follow-up system. So my patients watch my YouTube videos. They might grab a free guide. I've written several different guides on like after hand surgery, if you have carpal tunnel, what if your shoulder hurts, you have tendonitis, like elbow tendonitis, and you can't get rid of it, like all that stuff. I just, put out a lot of educational content. And my educational content is really to help them learn more about what's going on and then make a decision to come work with me if they want to come work with me, right? So my follow-up system is once they grab a guide, I send them an email. Once they call my office, I say, hey, Do you mind if I follow up with you? It's that easy. Is this your name? Is this your number? Is this your email? Or am I okay? What's your email so I can send you a couple of videos that I have in my mind about what you might be looking for. And then it's a way of me developing that follow-up system. And they might not work with me today, but they might work with me later, right? So my patients might work with me, a month or two after they've tried their traditional therapy setting. They've tried going to their in-network place and they're not getting any results. And so they, like a month or two later, they'll come. I've had people be on my email list for 2 years, like just in pain, just like pain here and there. They're worried about something, but it's not so painful. Like they didn't break anything, they're chronic. It's like a chronic thing coming in and it comes and goes, comes and goes. And then one day they're like, fine, I'll come in. Damn it. I've been getting your emails, right? Things like that. So have a follow-up system, because if you're spending money running ads and you don't have the right message, and you don't have a good system to take their phone calls, you don't have a follow-up system, those are the three major basic things that if you don't do, you're just wasting your money. I mean, Google ads can be, I know clinics that I spend $2,000. I know clinics that spend so much more. I spend, let's say $500 on Facebook ads. I know clinics who spend so much more. And so it's whatever your level of comfort is to spend to attract what you want to be able to make and achieve in your clinic. But let me tell you, if you don't somehow have those systems set up in place before you start running your ads, you're going to get phone calls, nobody's answering them. You're going to get phone calls and nobody's answering them correctly. So none of that is going to turn into a patient. None of that is going to turn into revenue versus expenses. And then you're like, oh, ads don't work. They fucking do if we do them correctly. It's just like anything else. If you do them and you do them correctly, it's going to work for you. And the great thing is if they don't work for you, then you can go back and be like, why doesn't this shit work for me? It's not, don't say, oh, it doesn't work, period, because it's working for somebody. You're just doing it wrong. I had to have that internal look. I'm like, I'm doing something wrong, because everybody and their mother that I know, they seem to run ads and get patients, and they run a completely full cash-based clinic and they're making money. What am I fucking doing wrong that I'm not getting the same results? And so if you're not getting the same results, it might be because we need to improve, right? You need to improve. But don't waste money on ads if you don't have those things in place. Just a warning, that happened to me at the very beginning of my business. That happened for me when I was just starting out and dabbling in it. And sometimes you got to dabble and take a risk, but use the risk to evolve and improve. Otherwise, what are you doing? All right. If you need my personal help, but the links are below. But if you don't and you're just watching my videos for free, thank you so much. Please consider hitting the like, sharing this with someone, and subscribing. All right. I'll see you next time.